While I was attending Victorian Healthcare Week in Melbourne, I was lucky enough to spend time with Sean Wiggum, Managing Director at HPA, to uncover their company's remarkable journey in healthcare technology. In this discussion, we explore the vital intersection of hardware and software in healthcare and how the fusion of these elements is shaping the industry's future. We also dive into the transformative power of partnerships and collaborations, driving innovation and progress in the healthcare technology sector. Let's get stuck into it. Collaboration starts with a conversation. Team Health Tech, let's make it happen. This is Talking Health Tech with me, Peter Birch, featuring content and community about technology in healthcare. Sean, firstly, introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yep. Hey, Peter. Sean Wiggum, Managing Director of HPA.
Excellent.
10th year of the business. Started it myself, just solely myself, and with a credit card and no real products. And yeah, it's been a great journey. I think we're just about to hit 50 full-time employees around the country. We've got sites, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, and where else? Brisbane as well. I think from where you're up that way, in sunny Brisbane. Or you're not Brisbane, I think.
No, I'm Sydney.
You are Sydney.
Sophie's Brisbane. So we're a bit covering.
I'd love to live up in Queensland though. I think it's a great state.
Yeah. We won't tell them that though.
No. But so it's been a great journey thus far. Looking forward to celebrating with the team once we do hit that bang on 365 days, 10-year period, which will be a party early next year.
I didn't know that.
You should come along to.
Yeah, absolutely. There we got the open invite. But that's really cool seeing it, built up from scratch. I wasn't aware of that, Sean. And you've obviously seen a need for something within healthcare. Tell me a little bit more about that journey on where it was to where it is now, and that kind of the problems that you're solving within this important space.
Look, as I said, it's been a great journey, and hopefully there's another 10 years of the journey to continue on. Started out, it was a chair, a recliner, funnily enough, the first thing that sort of gave the oxygen to the company in a Queensland hospital. And I got that in, trialled it, got some capital from the sale of that product, because there was quite a few of them. So I've never used banks. It's all been funded, and which has been good for growth. Our success has been funded purely by success. But we basically then I looked at the market. I looked at what had occurred overseas with the digitization of the US-based hospitals, and I could see that we were about to go on that big journey in Australia. Obviously, in Queensland, I think Sunshine Coast went early, and they went hard in Brisbane. And then New South Wales was adopting a lot of the Cerner technologies, and there was a lot of ICU platforms. And I felt that there was a real need to provide some innovative solutions in hardware, so the computers and the cards. So I approached a few companies globally that had had success in the US and sold my idea and dream for Australia, and some of them bought into it, which was cool. And so here we are. We're now representing GCX. We build a lot of their cards because they're quite modular. And then CAPSA, it was formerly Human Scale. So they're Human Scale products we're the distributor for, which has now been acquired by CAPSA. And we make our own PC. So I do own another company. Yeah. So I make some PCs in Taiwan, and lots of keyboards and peripherals and things like that out of Shenzhen in China. But it's just grown, and it's been exciting. But
really interesting. And so that's obviously we see equipment around it in a hospital or a clinical setting, and that's important that's robust and physical, and there's something tangible for clinicians to touch and use and provide care. But more and more, as you've kind of alluded to, the stuff behind the scenes is becoming increasingly important, not just the physical kit, right?
Yeah, and 100% agree with you on that. And we've seen things done really well since we've been providing a lot of hardware solutions. And I think the synergy of hardware and software has been really important to, sites that do it well, pick the right hardware that works with the software. So you're not going to obviously buy a lot of tablets and things like that if the software doesn't suit their tablet-based application.
Yeah.
We've also found that the workflow of clinicians, be it if you're in an ED compared to a ward, EDs are a lot more fast-paced. You don't have time to lose power or plug things into the wall. Some mobility is incredibly important and speed. But the software, and I think we're reaching the second phase of software now in this country, where you've had the big players, the Cerners, the Epics. We're seeing other software providers, not necessarily like Cerner or Epic, but we're seeing other pieces that are specializing, be it in the ICU space or in the wearable space. Like, this is where I'm pretty excited about is, mobility, be it what a caregiver carries, be it a handheld device such from Zebra, or a wearable that a patient has, so they can be monitored, be it in the home or constantly by the bedside, so early alerts and warning scores. So I'm seeing a lot of that happening, and because of that, the team, which I've got a fabulous team, the team's really been pushing for this 5th division, because we have 4 divisions in our organisation. Surgical is one, ICT, one of our big ones, patient monitoring and life support, infrastructure, so we do modular construction. And the team's really been pushing for a software division to get into that space. And I was a bit apprehensive at first, because I know it can be a really challenging beast out there, because that's what people live and breathe every day when they're using software, right? Hardware, to put it bluntly, is quite easy. Even though we're good at it, it's a lot easier than software. So, but yeah, I've bitten the bullet. The team's been working in the background with a number of software providers globally for the last 24 months to be able to bring something to Australia. And just recently, we've actually signed on with a partnership from a US-based company.
Yeah, great.
Harris Data Integrity. And I could talk a little bit more about that and what that is.
And I think, I'd love to learn a little bit more about that particular partnership, but just generally, it's something that I noticed that, it's, as a hardware company, initially identifying that need to, provide a greater stack. There's benefit in really leaning into integrations and partnerships to be able to enable those solid workflows within the healthcare space and let some of those vendors do those niche little workflows really well. On the other hand, you've kind of identified that there are some key areas that, you can add value by building your own thing, and granted, they're 2 quite different vehicles to drive, running a hardware and running a software company,
100%.
but being able to bring those together, however you do it, whether it's through the partnerships and integrations or whether it's the build the thing yourself, it's going to be really important.
I think for healthcare, the benefit is partnerships. Not one company can do all, and we do specialize in some areas, but I think finding those niche organizations from around the globe and being able to partner with them and bring those solutions to this market. And then also working with some of the other, I don't believe in competitors, let me call it competitors. I think I've seen success in healthcare integrations when there's a bit more openness. I don't want to use the term open source, but where supplier A and supplier B can actually work together for an outcome that benefits the healthcare facility, and that can be done really well. It's a shame when some organisations might be confrontational and be, not share.
Sure.
And I think sharing benefits the end user and the customer really well. And as I've got older, I'm probably a bit more chilled out. I used to be a bit combative, and I was probably on that other side where I'd be like, I don't want to share, I don't want to do that. This is our IP and things like that. But no, I think the end outcome, the benefit for the client, the customer, the patient, should be the clear goal for everyone. But just the software is actually something, as I said, I was apprehensive about, but the team's convinced me, and that's why we've got a good team.
Oh, fascinating.
And we're taking on that journey now. So.
Absolutely. You mentioned one of those partnerships that are going to add a lot of value with the Harris Data one. Tell me a little bit more about what that's going to bring to the picture.
Yeah, look, and again, I had the team working with them for a long period of time, and I wasn't made aware of it up until probably recently, until ink had to be, put on a piece of paper. So I was only recently, brought up to speed on what it is and why that could benefit our customers or, future customers. And even some of our software suppliers out there who already exist in Australia. So, what it is basically, there's a big buzz about, the single patient record. What happens, however, is that, patient A might go into one facility and then they'll go into another facility. So there's multiple records of the same patient occurring all the time. So it's basically a piece of software that scrubs and unifies, can see and scans, and it does it at a really high level. And unifies that single patient record. So there's not multiple cases of that record out there. So it can benefit, private hospitals. It can benefit, because obviously having multiple records of the one patient where there might be a different letter and name that somebody's input accidentally, it can cause problems.
Yes.
It can cause a lot of cost to healthcare. I think one of the latest figures that I was told by the team was $6 billion a year. And that can just be by manually having to rectify, or it can also be because of challenges in the legal world where, there's malpractice or problems that occur because, somebody was prescribed the wrong drug, or who knows, given the wrong procedure.
Yeah, and that's really important, getting that data right in the first place, not just on the day-to-day workflow examples that you've talked about, but when we think about the future of this space in healthcare, a lot of people talk about artificial intelligence and the need to utilize data more effectively. If the data is not right from the outset, you kind of can't really get out of the gate, right?
Yeah, you can't build a good building with a bad foundation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think you're right on that. And you mentioned AI. I think that's something that I'm pretty excited about, as everyone is. Everyone uses ChatGPT to assist them do things a bit, to write a simple email or to write a marketing plan sometimes. But I think AI poses a real opportunity in the software space, but you do need the right foundations, and that needs to come from a human.
Yeah.
And because there are particular needs, I believe, that are specific to not all, but some, and AI is not going to be able to meet that. So, yet. I should say yet. You never know what's happening next year, right?
But that's going to be really important, particularly in such a human-centric service as healthcare, as you've been, building tangible tools that clinicians use to deliver quality care from the outset. Having that in mind, but being able to adapt with those is going to be really important. Lastly, Sean, we're at Victorian Healthcare Week at the HPA booth, well kitted out. What are you hoping that people might walk away from either your booth or the sessions that they hear from today?
Look, I enjoy coming here. I hope it's busy. I mean, everyone does who invests in these events. But it's also just catching up, as I said, with some competitors, if I can call them that. Knowing
collaborators.
Collaborators, because we're the ones that are, driving that change in the healthcare space. The suppliers really are, So we're supporting the industry. And so to be supported by, attendees, I think that's important. Hearing some of the great talks that will occur. And really just also catching up with the team, because as I said, we're a national team, so I often don't get to see the team in person unless it's at these events.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, and just having fun. But I did want to say one thing about AI, and which really excites me, and it's about all these devices that we've got behind us, which is carts and tablets and things, and it's the wearable. I can see AI really benefiting healthcare with wearables. So we've got an Apple Watch or whatever you're wearing that's tracking you and doing that sort of thing. I can see this GP prescription that everyone will have, and it'll know your health data and be able to have telehealth consults, be it with AI or a real person, and it'll be tailored to you. So you'll be able to be monitored if you've got a condition. You'll be able to have your medication managed remotely as well, and delivered. So I just see the next 5 years as an incredibly exciting period. Yeah. And I'm glad that I'm still young enough and can be a part of that. Yeah. But some of the other organisations that I'm seeing coming up, I'm like, there's some pretty innovative organisations coming through, and I'm just excited to be a part of that journey.
Absolutely. It's such an exciting time to be part of that journey and collaborate with those ecosystem partners along the way. Sean, I appreciate you making the time to have a chat before the doors open up here at Victorian Healthcare Week, because you'll have a busy couple of days. We'll put the details for HPA in the show notes of this episode. You've got a good presence on the Talking Health Tech website, and look forward to checking in again soon.
Thanks so Peter. Great chatting with you, mate. Thanks.
For more content and community about technology and healthcare, visit talkinghealthtech.com.